And we ask that you would bless each who is present to do the business of this community. We ask that you would give the council the wisdom and the discernment necessary to make the decisions that are appropriate for us. All of this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Approve the minutes of the regular meeting October 16, 2007. Appropriation ordinance 110607 in the amount of $67,694.39. A mayor's proclamation for open burn for the rest of November of 2007. And a request to use the skating rink for PE classes January 3rd, 4th at 7 through 11 and February 22nd.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Is there any citizen comments this evening?
I guess maybe this comes under citizen comments, but I've had several people visit with me about the restaurant. And they say, you know, the city wasn't charging such high utility rates. It could survive, so, no, set the record straight. I assume that they're paying the same rate as everybody else.
Well, that's going through the building.
Are they using, does it use that much more?
I actually checked with a few other places on the usage alone, and it seemed to be appropriate usage for the type of business.
Well, you know, they were asking why we couldn't give them some kind of a break on that, but I said, well, I mean, in my opinion, we need to do that for every business if we did it, and so.
Now, Larned, where their other restaurant is, has many tiers, you know,
Right.
and differences. So, but usage in their restaurants.
So when they say that their utility rates, I mean, their utility costs were more, that could be true compared to Larned? Is that what they're?
You know, without getting into specifics of a certain account, I would say we're very similar. I visited with the clerk over there, and we are similar. Now, there is a difference in the hours of open, but you're still paying utilities whether you're open or not. You know, may not be running the grill, but you're running the freezer and the coolers and stuff.
I don't know what time they did operate, it was during the hottest time of year, so.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Becky. Is there any more citizen comments this evening? Administration now.
Yes, I had, we'd had advertisement in the newspaper, and we had advertised for shingle removal on 2 structures set for fire department to burn. And yeah, we made 6 calls to our people on our contractors list in the city, and I ended up getting 1 bid from out of all those. Some were too busy to do the work. So we ended up getting 1 bid from Franco Construction, who is out of Stafford and does have a contractor's license in the city of St. John. The first structure is a 201 South Nutting, and the other one is an 808 North Exchange. And the cost was $855, and that's to remove all the shingles and any related roofing material, and $270 at 808 North Exchange, which most of it is just shake shingle. They only had 1 section of the roof that actually had composition shingles on it, and partial, like a kind of a semi-flat roof on it. And with landfill charges and everything for the 2 structures is $1,250. And that would come out of our house demolition fund. Yeah. And he indicated he could get on this fairly quick. And then I know Leonard's been wanting to have some buildings to train in. Next thing we'll do is have them inspected for asbestos and get all the paperwork filed with the state, and then they can proceed on training in the burning structure. So
move we accept the bids from Franco Construction to tear the shingles off the houses.
Second.
Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
The other thing, at 6 o'clock this evening, we had a planning commission meeting, and I had a request for a zoning change. It's indicated here, this black area here, this is the north end of the existing mobile home park. Kristen Miller wants to put a double wide modular on foundation similar to what Claire Weber put up there on North Main. So in other words, to do that, she couldn't put it where it was zoned mobile home, so she requested to be R3, which is the surrounding property there. So the planning commission made approval of that, so it's up to you guys to go ahead and approve their recommendation. Or
It's
not.
across the street, where that,
From Doors?
Yes, south of Doors, straight south of Doors.
okay, where she used to live, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, her home does.
Yeah.
Is there any objections?
No one showed.
I move we approve the planning commission's findings on zoning change.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
The only other thing I had was I just wanted to let the public know that in the near future, we're going to be doing tree trimming in the town for electric line clearance and alley clearance and low-hanging limbs over the street. Anyone that wants to do their own trimming, that's perfectly fine, but if it's something that they can't do or won't do, we'll be in to do the trimming, so just giving people a little advance warning. Probably within the next couple of weeks or so, we'll be starting on that. That's all I have.
Any questions for Mel this evening? Yes, Bobby?
Yeah, Mel, I think there's some trees along the streets and a few places that probably need some attention. I know it too.
We do the whole town when we do that. We drive the whole, and if you got any particular place, but yeah, it's with this much rain as we had this year, we really have a lot of growth. And so if you want to tell me later, I'll make sure we get there, but yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Is there any more questions for Mel? Thank you, Mel. Administration, Donna?
Yeah, in your packets, I included a bid from CIC for some software upgrade. What has happened is we are out of room for our data on the software that we are currently running. So twice this week, one this morning, Donna was getting ready to enter payments and there was no room to do it. The other time was when she was in her meter readings, and they were able to take part of our data this morning and move it to another place for a temporary fix so that we could continue business today. And they can move it back once we get things upgraded, if that would be your choice.
So are these separate or are they using both?
No, the total is the $17.15. And that is total software. There's no hardware included in that. We don't need any hardware upgrade at this time.
So you had plenty of storage on the machine and the
We have
software
plenty
pretty
of
good?
disk space, but what we're using for the data is a SQL, and it's a free version of SQL, and we've just outgrown it. So this is actually purchasing the full-blown program that we should be able to, and hopefully it'll take care of some of the glitches and little things that sometimes don't work quite right, and they have to go in and help us get fixed.
Refresh my memory again, why did we quit sending out the bills on a card?
Because
Yeah, I finally found it.
We actually ran out of room on the cards, you know. We could not add any more.
Like when we added,
Yeah,
water
the
charge.
storm sewer. There were a few of our customers that outgrew it. Not too many, but.
Oh.
And-
This looks like a lot of paper to me. A lot of envelope, and who seals all those?
We did. You get a cotton ball in there. With the three of us working, it doesn't really take all that much time, you know.
New job?
No, I just know how long it takes to do it, and it looks like a lot of work.
I have visited with the county, and they said if we wanted to come over and use their folder and so forth, we could. However, Donna likes to check over each bill, and so while she's looking it over, she does the folding, and then we help her insert. And it has not, at this point, been overwhelmingly covering us up with work, so. Vicki and I just stop what we're doing, and that becomes a priority.
So by doing this, how much are we adding as far as, I mean,
Data space, they didn't really give me
is it
figures.
gonna last?
It should last us in fact, they were very surprised that we had already outgrown what we did, you know, but I think probably this will become obsolete before we outgrow it, by my understanding, you know.
So now is this because we're storing everything?
So we can have access to history, you know, like vouchers from 2000. In fact, what they did today to give us space to be able to operate today was they took all our voucher and accounts payable information from 2002 and back and put it on another storage device.
I'm surprised we're not storing that somewhere else anyway.
I mean, that's an option if you guys want to try to archive stuff.
I mean, at this point, what are you going back and, I mean, how much are you using that?
Well, I mean, actually Dawn has been researching an account today that wants to go clear back to 1996. It was kind of her cutoff, and she's been up here in the storeroom, you know, and I finally told the gentleman
I
that,
was gonna say, what are we charging for that?
that's right. I said, because he was making a change in his request, and I said, look, you know.
Why is that
That's
necessary?
ridiculous.
Well, what I said to him was basically, where are your records from that time?
Well, you put
You know,
a fee on
yes,
it, and you stop that real quick.
And that's what I told his secretary, and then the request changed. So, and I hope that was the right way to do that, because it was, just seemed like it was taking off an awful lot of her time.
Well, I'm just thinking.
Not
you
that she
know,
doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, going
you know.
back more than 5 years, I was just trying to figure out how many times you would be doing that and for what reason, you know, what you would be looking at.
Sometimes vendor information, and sometimes meter readings. would be the thing.
Well, it doesn't seem like there's a good alternative. to do this. I move we go ahead with this proposal to upgrade the software.
One second, so we can talk about some more.
What did you say?
I said I'll second it so we can talk about it some more.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah, I don't want to discuss.
Okay.
All right. If we're keeping records for longer than 5 years, you say that's what they did, was they moved stuff off so you could put more stuff on. How much more stuff can you put on?
Today was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I'm getting at is that, I mean, it seems to me that 5 years will be long enough for us to keep that information.
Can we put that on the disk?
Well, again, you'd archive it to something.
Or can you just get rid of it? I mean, I don't know that you.
No.
There's a lot of stuff we cannot get rid of. I can try to find out what else we can do to store that and how accessible it would be.
And how much
I'm not
room do you
sure
have?
that it's
What-
gonna make that much difference in our, how long before we're gonna fill up again. We just have a lot of data, you know, and it's a free version that maybe a smaller business could run on, you know, and now it's just filled up a lot faster than they anticipated when they put us on that. They were trying to save us this to start out with, but that didn't work, is basically what it comes down to.
So is all that data going into like a report form? I mean, some type of a report and then,
We're able to access it for reports.
okay.
So we really don't know how much more room we can have. We really don't
By
know.
moving it off.
Yeah, right. I mean, they had to do something with it.
Today, they took a very small part of it just to give us room to work today. And you probably filled it up today. You know, tomorrow or the next day, we're gonna have the same problem.
Is there a reason that you can't transfer that to a hard disk and put the hard disk in file?
I'm not sure how accessible that would be.
It's just acceptable or accessible, put the disk in and bring it back up. You have to go back and date it up. That's what I do. I only keep 2 years records in my computer.
I mean, I can ask them the option, but this is actually, I mean, I think if they could have given us other options, and I visited with our network gentleman, Randy, that helps us out with other things in our hardware, and, you know, once he understood what this was about, he understood why we were needing it. So I can, without any more computer knowledge than I have, I've kind of left it to the experts here.
We probably ought to think about something because you're likely to run out again before next week.
If we don't update, yes. Now, presently, we save everything to external hard drive. That's our backup system. You know, daily we do that. But again, that just changes out the information that we already have already stored.
You have an offsite?
Yes, I take one each week. I change and take that to my home in a safe in my basement.
Any more discussion?
So we ought to do something.
I really don't have the answer. I just don't want to spend $1,700. Becky would know.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't. I do think we shouldn't be storing that kind of data. I mean, there's no need for it, I would think. I think some of it we need to be getting off of the system, but whether that's going to be a solution, that's not going to be a long-range solution.
Well, this software does something else, doesn't it, too, besides just give us more room?
Well, SQL, as I understand it, is, you know, I don't know what they call it. I'm not but knowledgeable about computer stuff, but it's what our data is stored on and makes it available in Access, which is what our data processing is in. So other than to have somebody come and explain to you what it actually does, I really am not.
it's a pretty intricate system that you have to have with running the city. And
We just upgraded our, security. You know, it was time to do all that again, and Randy came and he checked everybody's, PCs and the server and make sure we were protected, and, had to upgrade our software on that. It was just a renewal, more or less, but it was time. So you will see an invoice come through Golden Belt for that.
Rush Center?
That's something I, you know, we just have to keep up on those things or we're gonna be caught.
Unless the IT expense is just kind of necessary.
What's the total expense that we spend on computer systems in a year's time?
Bobby, that varies from year to year
You
because
got just a ballpark figure?
I'd have to look back and see what that, I would, you know, depending on what we have to have for upgrades, whether it's software for the actual billing and programs, or if it's to utilize like this, you know, you need server software to handle your data. We haven't, it's been probably 2 years since we upgraded hardware, except I upgraded the external hard drives just earlier on this year because the old ones were too small again. You know, all the programs take up so much more room now than they used to, you know, so we just have to either upgrade or virtually if you don't upgrade, you need to go back to doing it by hand, you know, because it's, you can't get stuck in the middle there because you can't operate in any.
I realize what you're saying. I'm not so sure there's no time coming, and then like, go back to it.
Give us fair warning, please.
They're not resigned.
I would guess around between 3,000 and 5,000 a year probably takes care of software, hardware, external hard drives, that sort of thing. We have a peopleware contract with CIC for all our support issues, and that's around 24, I think, a year. It goes up a little bit each year, but
This company here, you remember with, but then they charge us to do the actual installation.
that's not support. That's, yeah.
Is this comparable with another company?
Well, when we chose CIC, gosh, was it in '02 that we went on with them, I believe, and we looked into we went to several workshops with different PC-based systems. Some of them are still out there too, but the county's on with these guys. I don't know if our school is on with these or not. They do school systems, counties, cities. That's their 3 biggest that they write software for and support.
Who's advising you overall as far as any IT issues? I mean, as far as the entire
Whole set.
computer?
Well, I mean, when it comes to network and hardware, you know, Randy Clark with Golden Belt. When it comes to the actual running of the business software, then that's CIC. If there's issues like security or something, that's Randy. You know, between the two of them, and there are certain people at CIC that it's just not their programmers that would be doing this. They have somebody who does that on a regular basis. I questioned Mark about this quite a bit to try to make sure that's what we really needed to do.
That's what I was wondering, if it was just someone that was advising you know, outside the company
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, did someone just tell us we need this? or
Well, and
we
that
really
was
need
my first phone call when I got it and looked at the amount and I went, and had to breathe again. Then I called Randy and told him what I had and, you know, had him try to help me understand it. And I don't think he charged us for that call, so.
call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Okay, and as far as the regulations for the worksite vehicle, I visited with Arc City and Winfield, and actually it was really pretty hard to find somebody who would talk to me about it. It was like kind of a non-issue there. They have one or two each in their towns, and they hadn't even thought about some of the issues that you guys had already discussed. So they were interested to know what you guys decided and if we had any ordinances to be sure and send them to them. So they haven't had any problems with it. Talked to the county and they said basically that is taxed through your personal property taxes, you know, not through the treasurer's office, but through the assessor's office.
I did inquire with the county attorney, wrote him a letter and asked him to respond to me before our council meeting about his interpretation of the state statute regarding use on county roads, and he never responded to me. I did read the statute that was passed last session, and it appears that it would be usable on a county road. I mean, it says public highways of the state. Now, I didn't specifically look at the definition of public highways of the state, but I don't think that that typically includes township roads or county highways. But I'm waiting for his opinion, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
So we don't know that they're legal on the county blacktops?
Well, I was asking him for his opinion on how he was going to enforce it, because, you know, if it doesn't make a lot of, if somebody wants to have one, we drive around in town and they got to stop at city limits, then, you know, I guess it's good in town. I wanted to have some kind of interpretation from him, just so it would make more sense if we had a joint effort on the thing, or at least some mutual understanding before we go passing a huge ordinance and find out it's only good in town.
It seems to me like it's opening up a can of worms unless you clearly state that it's that little four-wheel drive vehicle. That's it. With a 3-cylinder diesel engine. Lights. Heck up phone calls.
You mean some other things might fall
Like
into that
dune
same?
buggies.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, they're legal as long as they're tagged. And they have blinkers and lights on it, they're
Right.
legal.
These aren't tagged. That's what their point was. If you can't tag this, and it's legal, why can't you ride your dune buggy? It's got turn signals and a rear veneer.
who's ruling is that state or is
Because a
that
dune
city?
buggy isn't
The worksite
listed
vehicle.
on our ordinance, it's not a worksite utility vehicle.
Right, it has to be
Well,
clearly
they're driving
stated
it.
that
That
it's.
ordinance we had from our city was the.
Well, and that statute, that language came straight out of the state statute
Mhm.
that was passed. But there are a lot of, you're opening a can of worms, you're gonna have a lot of, you're gonna have more questions you're gonna have answers for. But, I mean, if it's the desire of the council to do this, then we'll do the best we can with what we've got.
Well, it seems like we gotta ask him to let us know.
You know, maybe if he reads it in the paper, he might.
Force him to give him an answer, huh?
And that's exactly right.
What would happen, is he in attendance at the commission meeting?
I don't know, I don't watch it anymore.
Is he? You go film him.
No,
Is he there?
well, they come in and out.
Okay.
Have you seen him there?
He was there last week, but not on a regular basis.
Oh, okay. Missed him, huh?
Typically, he's here on Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know the schedule. That's kind of the days they have set aside for hearings and things.
Would it be a fruitful thing to
send a note to the county commissioners asking them what they think about it, as far as the county?
That's what I was wondering, if it would make a difference if we showed it at a commission meeting, actually made a formal request for.
Whether they're
I would
going to allow
think-
it in the county?
I would think that they would want to have some kind of input on it because they're gonna be on county roads. And
Sure.
I would think that they would wanna have some kind of a similar county resolution, charter resolution, probably limiting or restricting the use to certain. I mean, they did take the initiative in the ATV ordinance, they might wanna have some kind of input in this kind of pursuit too.
I'm a little confused. You say the state statute that was in Arc Cities?
I said the definition
It's,
of a off-site
Okay.
utility vehicle is the same as the definition in the state statute.
Okay. And the state statute currently prohibits,
It prohibits the operation on state highways and unless there's an exception in there
for
for,
third-class cities or whatever. it
well,
is.
I mean, no,
Whoever
not
wants
third-class
to opt-
cities.
Whoever
I mean,
wants to opt out.
It's prohibited in any incorporated city. But if you want to allow it, then you can opt out of it and pass an ordinance allowing it.
With home rule or whatever.
Well, I mean, I think you can pass this, I have to look, I think you can do a simple ordinance, I don't think it has to be home rule. But it might have to be home rule.
Well, I think here in the city, I don't see a problem. I don't think we should be worried about what the county's gonna do. If they wanna drive them here in the city, I think we should pass on it. That's where I stand on it.
Well, let's talk about our own business. We got it.
Okay, on the health insurance, it actually, the renewal came in at a decrease of 3.5%.
A decrease.
Decrease, yeah.
I didn't know if I heard you right.
Yeah. I should
That's
enunciate
possible.
clearly. And then additionally, Ron came over yesterday and we kind of went over some information and a kind of a plan for our website. We'll get back on that later this month. And then finally, I had handed out to you this information that Brenda Reno had put together on the community involvement program. And it's kind of a synopsis of how we went from Main Street to this and the bylaws. The bylaws actually don't have the name of the program on there because at that time it did not have a name when they were passed. So that will be put on probably at the next meeting. And also she has a letter in here to the council to kind of giving you an idea of what we are planning to do. And
I see what she said, she wanted Kevin Davis to serve on there.
that'd be great.
I missed it.
Right there.
That's okay. We already assigned you.
And basically that's just for your
Looks like there's
information.
plenty of funding for me, so I'm in for it.
big salary.
Yeah, 11,000.
Is there any questions for John this evening? Thank you, John. Leonard isn't here this evening. Oh, did you have any question, Becky?
Oh, no.
Okay, sorry. Leonard isn't here this evening. He's having trouble with his pickup, so, and he didn't have anything.
I think we,
There.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I think we ought to comment on the really neat soup supper that
Mhm.
you had.
Yes, it was very good.
Kind of worked out the difficulty having a playoff game, what happened at the same time, but I think a lot of people could get to both of them. It was really well done.
Yes, it was a good job.
I was a little disappointed.
And what?
Didn't get cherry pie.
That's
Ball.
Gotta get there.
your own fault. Bid a little higher.
Yeah.
You gotta support our fire
The
department.
only guy I know needs 3 cherry pies.
I didn't take none of it. You could have had all you want, see, you just didn't open your mouth, you know?
Just stick around.
I did.
Thank you, Jim. Police Department, Sunny,
I don't have anything.
is there any question for Sunny this evening or comments? Halloween was pretty quiet, wasn't it, Sunny?
Very quiet.
Very quiet. The streets were pretty clean, weren't they?
I had 200 people come to the police station. That's how many nightsticks I give out.
Good. Good.
And Garner and Davis was home.
I had a lot of, a big majority of the mother and dads were with the kids, so
Good.
I really enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty good, especially the little ones. Well, they'd stand by the door or something, but they would have taken them around, you know.
Good. It was a nice evening. Thank you, Sunny.
You're welcome.
Legal, Don?
We probably need about a 15-minute executive session for attorney-client privilege. With mayor, council, only me.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Oh, we need John in there. John, did you, or you have stuff in there?
It's in.
Okay, no, all right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Holy council, go back to order. Yeah, motion
You want 10 or 15?
15.
I'll move for executive session for attorney-client privilege for 15 minutes with mayor, council, and the attorney.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, Don. Is there any new business this evening?
Yeah,
Okay, Bob.
I would like to have an executive session for personnel to discuss a couple things.
How long?
Who?
Oh, 10 minutes.
And who?
The council and mayor.
Have a motion?
Also,
Second.
Oh, is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
oh,
Oh, can I, does anybody need me any longer? I'm making on the road.
I don't think so.
I don't guess so, unless it's on this vehicle thing.
Thank you.
Okay.
We can let you know, I guess.
Thank you, Don.
How long is the motion?
15 seconds.
10 minutes?
One of us, I don't care.
Okay. Second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Old business. Utility work vehicles.
I would like to see us adopt something like our city has. I don't have that in front of me, but
I'll be bringing my stuff we look at.
I can go down and get one if you want to discuss it.
But you said, did you say Arc City couldn't answer any questions we asked because they?
Well, they hadn't really thought about the problems that we discussed the last time around and how you would keep track of who owns what and identify that particular vehicle for a parking ticket or whatever as far as the permit or, you know, it's not going to be tagged. So if you wanted to have some kind of sticker in the back window or a permit and charge a fee or what, they had not done any of that.
They aren't doing that.
And actually, they said they only had like one in town and somebody was selling them. And so they really hadn't come up with any issues.
do we do that with bicycles?
We have registration for bicycles. It doesn't cost anything and they have a little sticker. Then Sunny has I think a book that has the registration numbers and stuff in it. So if a bike comes up missing or somebody finds a bike, they can identify it and try to get it back to the owner.
Well, it seems like we could do the same exact thing with these. Except charge a fee, I would charge a fee.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you should charge it.
I think you gotta charge something.
And it needs to be fairly healthy, I think, so that it's something that you wanna do, just so you're not out, I mean, just so it's not a recreational thing.
Right.
Right.
And Kevin brought up about the dune buggies. I think there's a big difference between a play toy and a utility vehicle. I mean, I don't think,
I'll
I
run
think
down
that
and
should be
get that
self-explanatory.
ordinance, because I think it had some specifications of the vehicle in it, so.
First person to talk to you, have they actually seen that ordinance?
No, like they either read the paper where we've been talking about
And there
it.
may be some specifics in there that would keep that from being allowed.
Yeah, it's not as buggy as a utility vehicle.
It's a recreational.
it's kind of what you guys wanna do, but I guess I really can't get too much, I can't get too wrapped up in the fee and all that, but
Well,
I question if there's gonna be enough of them to matter.
well, I think you might be right about that. I was just thinking a fee because there's not like a license or anything like that you have to go to the courthouse and.
So Sonny, how would you handle that? You see one parked in a some violation.
With
How would
utility
you,
figure.
how would you go about with no tag and no identity?
Well, we need, just like they said with the bicycles, we started with number one.
So you think that you
Like
have to have,
4 years ago, we started with number one and we're up to, I don't know, 200 or 250. But it makes it real simple to go back, I just go in on the computer and look it up and look the number up and,
what if the guy traded it to somebody else
do what?
and he didn't come in and re-registered? I said, what if you traded it to somebody else?
He's gonna get
Get
a
a
ticket.
ticket.
You're gonna give the ticket to the person whose sticker's in there?
Yeah, yeah. And we're gonna know, I mean, there ain't gonna be that many of them around, we're gonna know exactly who owns what.
Yeah.
I go out by there every day to see if they got rid of one, and so I can start looking for it, see where it was,
So then are we going to have a ticket for someone who doesn't have it registered?
They have to follow every rule. in that-
Yeah.
In that ordinance, they have to follow every traffic law.
Yeah.
Well, and there's
Well, that is-
And I think it would be just the same thing if they didn't have a sticker, which we could call a tag.
Yeah, you don't
If they didn't have a
registration-
city tag,
I didn't.
then, yeah, they'd get a ticket.
If you don't
for
have
not
a
having
registration
city
and
tags.
insurance with you, then you get a ticket for that.
Yeah, get booted.
And if we get into a problem with some attorney because they don't like the language, all you have to do is pass an ordinance to specify that type of vehicle and you got it made.
I think we ought to do it, I just don't know how to do it the best way. Because it's expensive, it isn't like somebody buying a little bike or something, they cost more than.
They're $5,000 or $6,000, aren't they?
Yeah,
Used.
Or more.
Those used ones out there.
used ones.
The time you put the permit, the time you have to go make them get proof of insurance, and do all that, well, then it's not affordable loan, so might as well just buy a used ticket.
Whoops. I don't know about that.
What is it?
Well, that would,
So within this ordinance is where we would put the requirements for the registration and all that?
Sure.
We'd have to have that language.
And one of the biggest things you have to rely on is the definition for a motor vehicle.
Well,
And
it's in here.
whatever
That's
the
it.
definition for a motor vehicle is, no matter how much power it's got, or how big your gas tank, or anything else, whatever the definition for a motorized vehicle, then that would be, something you'd have to, make sure that, you had the full, definition of it.
I'm sure you could probably get some creative people.
No, I am too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Steerman with a bench or bucket type seating line, at least 2 people to sit side by side. A fully enclosed metal or metal reinforced cab. Front and rear bumpers, and may be equipped with a bed or cargo box.
However, they wouldn't be able to ride in the cargo box.
Yeah.
Just like a pickup, they
Right.
couldn't ride in the cargo box.
All the standard traffic ordinances would apply.
Yep.
cities is about the same, isn't it? As Winfield's.
Maybe I'm looking at Winfield's.
Yeah.
Park City's a back one.
Yeah, I think they're both the same. Park City's just smaller. Right? Yeah.
Well, it looks to me like letter D, you need to put something about the registration. I don't know what wording you would use. But you have to be registered with the city.
The fee ought to be put in as whatever the city council, can change by a resolution rather
Instead
than,
of a, yeah,
rather than in the way.
yeah. Make sure that, put that on there, right? Because we'll have to tell Dawn what,
This is letter D.
what we want, right?
Yes. And, yeah, he'll have to determine probably whether it's a home rule ordinance or just a regular ordinance.
I think the statute said whether you could do it or not, and that shouldn't take any more.
Did you decide on the registration fee or?
No, we ought to do that by a separate resolution, I think.
He's saying,
Oh, I
have
see.
the language that they have to pay the fee, but
Yeah,
It would
but
be determined
you
by
might want to
resolution.
change it too sometime.
We've done that before on other ordinances, I
Sure.
know Dawn.
So registration fee set by resolution or?
Yeah.
so John, like, they register the vehicle, and then the following year, 30 days before she sends a notice? Or is it gonna be totally up to them to remember what day they need to re-register?
Well, what do the bicycles do?
They
Once you
just-
do it,
One time
it's
you-
for good.
One-time thing?
Yeah.
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 I would say, like,
I don't want
if
to
we
do that.
made it at the same time every year, everybody's not, like our dog fees, like our dog tags, they're good until April of the following year. Whether you buy it
Yeah,
in
many of them.
March or whether you buy it in,
December,
That's a
January.
good
You don't
idea.
prorate it?
no,
That's a good
It's
idea.
like a hunting fishing license.
yeah, or your,
It's annual.
Remote control
Sure,
deal.
yeah.
The airplane permit.
that way, once a year, just like with the contractor's license, a letter can go out saying it's time to renew your contractor's license, the fee is, and here's the ordinance, and then it's up to them to get it in. Now, the difference is, if they don't get a contractor's license, then they just, can't go out and work here. Who's gonna regulate whether they came in, are they gonna come in and check and see, is the police gonna check and see who got registered and who didn't? I mean,
Well,
probably
it's-
we're not talking about that many vehicles, so I don't
We're
think
gonna
it's
put a date
be-
on the tag,
Yeah,
so if they're driving with an expired tag.
well,
I think you can make it as complicated
I
or
was
simple.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
that's what I'm afraid of, it's gonna be so, whatever.
I think it could be easily done, and I'm guessing if we have 10 of these vehicles running around town, which that's not gonna be hard to,
I don't know, maybe you just need to make it where they have to have the registration, and if they get pulled over, and then they have to produce it, and if they don't produce it, then they get a ticket. I mean, I don't know.
But if they have a parking, ticket, you don't know if it's,
I'm assuming they get a title with that, wouldn't they,
VIN number,
with the vehicle?
title.
I bet there's a VIN number on them.
Well, we ought to have something showing ownership when they actually apply for a tag.
Well,
The
you
city
aren't-
tag.
they aren't gonna, well, the assessor's office would have something, I mean, on the
and
property
we're
tax,
gonna need
right?
to have proof of insurance before they can get their permit.
Yeah, they should have some kind of a deal to show ownership and then insurance before they get the
Permit.
permit. And then when they get the permit, if you buy them like the ones I have for the bikes, you can't take them off. You try to take them off and they just rip into pieces. You can't take them off and use them on something else or another vehicle on account of I mean, once they're on there, they're on there.
I like the idea that they register them once. And they're gonna
And
go-
not
Every
make it
year,
an
they're gonna
annual.
pay their property tax on it. We're not gonna have to deal with
But
it.
if they trade or buy a new one, then you have to come back in and register.
But if they don't get insurance the next year, you don't know that.
Well,
But
It's
you
the
don't
same
know
as your
if-
car.
It's the same as your car, you
Yeah,
don't know it either.
The police department will take care of that.
Yeah, that's right, that's it.
How will they?
Well, if they don't have a
If you
proof
do
of insurance,
Well, it's
there's
the
no
same with your
insurance,
car.
then
You
You
can
get a
drive,
ticket.
you can drive around without any insurance on your car until you get pulled over. And then when you get pulled over, you're gonna get a ticket for it.
$300.
You'd be surprised if people buy 1 month of insurance.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they'll buy one
Rest of the
month
year.
to
Just
get
to
the
get their
car,
tag.
and go get their tag for the year.
Okay.
The ordinance is gonna say they're required to have it, and it's just that they're caught and don't have it.
Okay, I'll go
I'm all
with
for
that.
it.
I'll go with that.
That's cool.
Sounds like a pretty neat
For a
deal.
one-time fee.
The insurance company to sell insurance for 1 month.
people do it.
Well, they
They'll
can,
do it.
they can purchase it for longer and then
How
drop
about
it.
it?
And then they cancel it and they get a refund on the premium.
People do it.
Well, they haven't paid the whole premium anyway, they just paid it.
Drop it.
That's what I.
Oh, darn.
Are we gonna have a one-time registration fee?
Sure, if you gotta do paperwork, you gotta make up these, are you gonna give them a tag or if they?
Well, I don't know if it's just a one-time deal, I don't know.
I mean, like the bicycles have a tag. Unless you wanna use the bicycle tag.
I don't think it would hurt to have something that would show they were registered,
Yeah,
because immediately Sunny would know.
sure.
Could it be something similar to like, at the college parking
Yeah.
Yeah,
permit things, you
I see
know,
that.
that's
Yeah.
small and could be just,
In their window.
And then, glass or something, dark glass.
it's gonna cost a lot of money to have those printed, we're gonna use 2 of them.
Okay, so what's the fee gonna be?
We can
But we
decide
can
that
decide
separately.
that later.
Oh, okay.
okay, so you want an ordinance drawn up with this information?
I think we just asked Dawn to draw up the ordinance,
Mhm. And I'll
with the
tell them.
change that we said, bring it back next meeting. We can adopt it with a separate resolution for a fee. You might tell him we'll need that also.
A resolution
A
for the
fee.
fee.
I like the idea of having them like that. I was in favor of the golf carts, but I can see where a golf cart isn't quite as safe maybe, and they're not as quick to get out of the way, and
We'll see if the city buys it.
The state doesn't like to do that.
yeah.
It's not in the budget, they'll come.
Don't give him any
I
ideas.
see a lot of electric wheelchairs in
More
like
dollars
that
to
recently.
savings on insurance.
I think you might be surprised how many of them show up.
We adjourn.
Second, second.
Numbers, okay.
Jim moved.
Jim moved what?
We adjourn.
Club.
Oh,
Everybody
All those in favor
seconded.
say aye.
Aye.
That's what I said no, I didn't hear you.